What's up, world? This is Jeff Marshall with the Equity Partner. Wanted to take some time with you all today to just talk through a few things that kind of came to mind about buying properties, real estate in general, residential, commercial, to kind of give you some insight on both worlds. A couple quick tips, quick notes. If you're buying residential real estate, especially if you're a first time home buyer, there are tons of programs that you can take advantage of. I bought my first property with 3% down. The first property, I had a roommate, which was a family member of mine. And it was an excellent time for me to kind of get in the door of owning real estate, but also owning it at a cost that I could afford. So whenever you're buying real estate, there's a big difference between what you can afford and what you get approved for. So really focus on looking at your budget first prior to even getting pre-approved. I think it's important for you to know, what your comfort level is, so you still have enough discretionary income to do what you need to do on a day-to-day. But also, if you want to make another investment, you still have excess cash to do so. So buying your first home, think about that investment as a long-term investment and make it your first investment property. Because, in a sense, that's what mom became for me. I was able to help my family member get their first home by eventually leaving that home, selling them that home at a profit, and then moving into and using the proceeds to buy my next home. That next home actually became an investment property, a very good investment property that was beneficial to me for the long term and also beneficial to my family. So don't don't hesitate to think 5, 10 years in advance. Okay, is this location a location that people want to be in? Think about families. Typically, people move into homes and they want to put themselves in a position to buy a property that for a good value, that's surrounded by quality schools, and that will come up when you're trying to rent that property. So think about all the different caveats that come in when you're buying a property. The other thing I wanted to talk about just with residential purchases is if you buy a residential property, the main thing you need to think about is other expenses, maintenance expenses, kind of day-to-day repair that you will have to pay for, and that you need to set aside excess cash opposed to spending all that cash on an everyday basis. So, if you buy a property, make sure you're looking to buy a property where you can earn excess cash. Make sure you set aside enough excess cash for the loss of a tenant, for maintenance and repairs. The biggest items for maintenance repairs are your roof, your HVAC. The other things you want to think about, between roof and HVAC are probably the largest. But you also want to think about other repairs like appliances, refrigerator, stove, and any other major appliances that you put into that space. Primarily because you want to know the age of those appliances and how long they'll potentially last. I can give you a multitude of scenarios where I had a brand new refrigerator. That refrigerator was put in, I didn't buy a warranty. Soon after that refrigerator went out, I had to replace it with another brand new refrigerator. Now you also have the option of buying, used. You can also buy used refrigerators. I bought used refrigerators for another property of mine, and it worked out great. Where it lasted a long period of time. But one thing for sure, you don't know what you're going to get, when you buy that appliance. So people ask the question all the time, well, should I buy a warranty? Typically, I would say if you're buying something new and you can afford to pay for the entire cost of it if something were to go wrong, then feel fine without buying an additional warranty. The disadvantage is if you buy something, let's say it's $1,000, $1,500 refrigerator, and you do have to replace it, are you prepared within 18 months, 24 months, 36 months to go ahead and then pay that full amount? So there's a lot of things that you should think through when you're making those purchases. And it really depends on your spending habits, your excess cash, the discretionary income you have. and your ability to be patient. When you have these properties, you have to have patience. You have to have good communication skills. You need to have somebody look over the legal documents that you're having your tenant sign. You want to be able to put that tenant into the longest term lease possible, primarily because legally they're obligated to fulfill the term of that contract. And it works out for both ways. One, they know they're in a property for long term. And then two, you have a legal document that hopefully has been reviewed by some attorney to say that if something were to go wrong, you have a legal document saying you could go after that tenant for the remaining balance of that lease. Ideally, you don't want to reach that point, but you also want to know what it takes if you get in that situation where you do have to take that person to court. Commercial real estate. I do want to take a moment to talk a little bit about commercial real estate. I love commercial real estate. I think commercial real estate has much more potential as far as income sources. You can have a multitude of tenants in a multifamily or in a large office complex. Office right now probably is not as hot, primarily because of what's going on with COVID. People are learning to kind of work from home, but office is not completely dead. There will be headquarters, but it'll just be done a little bit differently. So, as they have to adapt, we have to adapt. People that are buying and investing, they have to adapt. A huge hot space is industrial real estate, where people are doing, housing, they're warehousing, industrial properties, because there's a lot of e-commerce. So there has to be a place to hold it, to track it, to fulfill those orders, and then to send those orders out. So the industrial space is really popular and hot space right now. Another space that continues to be popular is multifamily. You have some people that have made a decision not to buy, so they continue to stay in apartments or in condos or in townhouses and pay rent. You also have people that are just starting off and they want to continue to buy smaller properties or stay in smaller properties. So looking at multifamily is always a good option. Multifamily is considered anything 5 units or more. You also have mixed use properties, and a mixed use property is a mix of residential and commercial. So you might have a tenant on the bottom that could be, just to give you an example, could be a camera shop, a photography shop, and then they might have 3 or 4 apartments above, and that would be considered a mixed use property. Typically with real estate, you can get a commercial real estate property with as little as 10% down. Always think about the risk. The less you put down, the less of a cushion or buffer you have if values continue to fluctuate. And that could impact you from being able to refinance, or you might have to put more down at the point where values do decrease because your bank might require you to do so. So it's important for you to know, what those benefits are, but ideally you want to put down 20 or 25%. And if you think about it, again, if you buy a $1 million property, that 20 to 25% is 200 to 250,000. Depending on how many people you can get together to accumulate that amount will help you acquire that property. And the other key consideration with commercial real estate is that typically you get longer term leases. I mean, their leases are typically 5, 7, 10, and some even 20 and 25 years. So that's much more of an attractive solution for somebody looking to have a long-term investment, looking to be able to pass that investment to their family members, and them to continue to have income streams. Because ideally, if you pay off a property within, let's say, 20 to 25 years, by the time you're either ready to retire or by the time you transition and you want to pass it on to the next generation, that property does not have any debt. That property is not leveraged. All that income that you receive from that property will go directly and payable to you or the organization that you set up as a real estate holding company. So that's the best way to build up generational wealth, is have income producing assets that put you in a position where you don't have to work, where it supplements your income. Thank you for watching The Equity Partner. My name is Jeff Marshall. Please subscribe, to our YouTube channel. Please like the video and share it. And we look forward to bringing you guys more content. Take care.